The CDC is sounding the alarm about the growing threat of a deadly fungus, Candida auris. Hopefully I got that correct. All right, it is spreading throughout American healthcare facilities, and the cases jumped from 53 in 2016 to almost 1,500 in 2021. To make matters worse, this fungus is drug resistant. Yikes. Which is why we're bringing in Dr. Kohli.
Yeah, we want to talk about what this is, what it really means. I mean, those numbers, do they come from testing or do they come from more prevalence? Is it something we need to be concerned about?
A little bit of both, actually. We're starting to get more awareness of this. And, you know, it's been around since 2016 in the U.S., first diagnosed in 2009 in Japan, but it was very few numbers. You could count them on your fingers. Now we're seeing really an explosion in numbers, and we think a lot of that has to do with the pandemic because it led to overcrowding of hospitals. It led to changes in cleaning protocols, and it may have led to more transmission of this type of a fungus. And the name of it, Candida auris, comes from auris meaning ear, because it can cause ear infections, but it can actually cause infections of any of our organs. And when it becomes systemic, when it gets into our bloodstream and starts infecting our organs, that's when it can be deadly.
So two terms that make people pay attention, deadly.
Yes.
And drug resistant also is something that has our attention.
That's right, and that is what makes the healthcare providers a little bit more worried as well, because the antifungals, which are sort of like antibiotics but for fungus, are not working as well. Now, thankfully, we don't have a strain that's resistant to all of them, but we're worried that may come. This is also a fungus that seems to infect not the healthy people, but the ones that are the most vulnerable, which makes it even harder because they don't have an immune system to fight it naturally, and those are the ones that can be most susceptible.
So we immediately think of older people in healthcare settings and things like that. Is there anything we can do? I mean, wash your hands, like the same old thing, wash your hands. And then if you're one of the caregivers, make sure that everything is really clean and sanitized.
Yeah, you could even get tested for it. In fact, that's what we're encouraging people to do, because for most of us, it may even live on our skin. It's ubiquitous. It's everywhere. But if you look in the healthcare systems, you see it on IV tubing, you see it on bed rails, you see it on doorknobs. It's hardy, and it survives on those surfaces. And that's what causes spread to a person who's immunocompromised, like a cancer patient, or has HIV, or is fighting a different infection, or has been institutionalized. So washing hands for sure, but we know that bleach, UV light, those types of sanitizers can also help to clean surfaces. But if you are somebody who's actually colonized with it, you may not want to go super close to somebody who's immunocompromised.
So that's why you should get tested. And wow.
If you have somebody like that in your family.
How are you tested?
So that's the other thing. We talked about it being drug resistant. We talked about it being ubiquitous and everywhere. The testing is very difficult also, and it's also in very specialized facilities. So you have to culture either the skin or the blood or part of the organ or wherever it is that you're trying to see, and put it in a petri dish and watch it grow over several days.
So that's a lot of the science. If you have germaphobes or hypochondriacs in your life, when you say it's everywhere, it's deadly, and it's drug resistant, that might be all people hear.
It's not time for panic, because it's been around for a little while. We're just picking it up more now. And the purpose of this alarm that we're sounding is really to protect those most vulnerable in our society so that this cycle doesn't propagate itself. It's to raise awareness in the healthcare facilities, raise awareness of the healthy people working in the healthcare facilities, to really work on trying to reduce the transmission now post-COVID.
And so with The Last of Us, the HBO show, that everyone's talking about fungus and fungus wiping us all out and stuff. It has people's attention.
It does. It's a great show, but it's not scientifically accurate, because it's very rare, first of all, to get fungus from food. You know, usually get toxins from the fungus, but you don't actually catch the fungus. It doesn't get into your bloodstream unless you're immunocompromised. And second, this is not going to happen here, because it does not infect healthy people in that particular way.
Yeah.
Well, now I can get through the afternoon.
I don't think we're going to become
I feel better now.
Dr. Kohli, thanks as always.